Good morning and a happy new year to everybody. As it's the 1st of January and the start of a new year, I wanted to bring something different to the people that consistently read my things, watch the things that I post, and the members of my group also. I wanted to make the group a little bit more special because it is a closed group and those people have just been receiving the same things that I've posted on my main page. So this year, my intention is to bring different things with my knowledge and my experience, life experience as well, to help people who might be struggling and might not, or just are interested in a different take on health and wealth, well-being, happiness. So today and for the next days ahead, I want to concentrate on gratitude. Now, quite often over social media, especially in the spiritual community, you will see lots of buzzwords. Have an attitude of gratitude, and gratitude is a highest vibration or a very high vibrational emotion that you can have, and that's true. But I'm a logical person, and although I feel that I'm a spiritual person, I'm also very interested in the science of that. So I wanted to try and tie gratitude in with why we need to have gratitude. It's all right saying be grateful, be grateful. Why? So over this next week, I want to try and tackle the reasons why gratitude is important, and also what do we mean by gratitude. Most people who are governed by their senses, what they can see, hear, taste, smell and touch, tend to be grateful for the things that they are given and for material things. But it goes beyond that, and hopefully over the next few days I'll be able to unravel that for you. What we do know scientifically is that grateful people are happier, they are less stressed, they are less prone to depression. And if you are in a situation where you are, the way I put it is, if you're on your arse, if you sort of really feel like you just, what's the point, you've lost all hope. If you can rehearse gratitude, over time, your brain will fire and wire new neurons, and your brain will start to wire differently for the better. Today, if you've got a minute today, I'd like you to think about what sort of things, what sort of thoughts do you mentally rehearse? And in the role that I play in my job, I often see I'm not good enough. I'm frightened of going for that job because I don't think people will like me, all that kind of thing. Not enough-ness is huge. And what we don't realise when we're constantly in that thought cycle, it's a thought-feeling cycle. When we're in that thought cycle, you are firing neurons in your brain, which in turn send signals through your body. And so you have this thought, your body generates the feeling sends a signal to the brain, your brain continues and makes up new thoughts, and before you know it, you're stuck, you're in a cycle, you don't know how to get out. But not only does gratitude change the wiring of your brain, It also changes your physiological body. It changes you physically. So based on a better mental state, your body automatically goes into a better physical state. And mentally rehearsing negative emotion subconsciously leads to disease within the body. And if we don't look at those feelings, we don't look at those emotions, we don't look at the way that we think, often you'll be looking for things outside of yourself to pacify you. So it might be, you might have a shoe fetish, or you might have a shopping fetish, or there's all manner of things that you will reach to outside of yourself to pacify you with. It could be food, it could be alcohol, it could be smoking, it could be absolutely anything. But you are only pacified for a short amount of time before the emotion and the who you are being, the gap gets longer and longer, and you feel like you've got to reach and reach and reach and reach and reach for more and more things or behaviours. I'm hoping I'm making sense. But in the end, those feelings don't go away unless you start to decide to make a change. And quite often, subconsciously, we're stuck in a pattern. It's your story, and your story becomes precious to you, and you don't want to let go of that. And we do know, as psychologists, that 50% of the story that you tell is untrue. Let that one sink in. So when you're telling somebody your story about this thing that happened to you 25 years ago and you can't get past it, half of that story is just your perception and you being able to use that story as your identity. And many people don't realise it, and they don't want to let go of it because they're fearful of who they would be if they weren't that story. Eventually, we all get to the stage at some point in our lives. We've already been there. Some of us have been there more than once, because people like me don't learn the first time round. I've got to be on my arse a few times before I finally muster up the courage to finally address what's going on. And until we address the stuff and the emotions and the shit that's going on inside ourselves, we can't change our lives. Quite often we are, and I say it a lot, go within. Just go within. Never mind what's going on out there, go within. And I know there's loads of people out there that must be thinking, what the hell does that mean? How do I do that? And a way to go within, an easy way to start going within and listening to your thought, feeling, emotional cycle, is to practice gratitude. You can start to unpick the identity that you've created for yourself. Indeed, if the identity you've created for yourself is one you don't want, or you want a different identity, because you can't change your life unless you change your personality. Particularly if you're stuck in a thought-feeling cycle. Most of us don't realise we're doing it. So in order to unpick the identity that you've created, subconsciously, unconsciously, if you don't start to do that, then you've not evolved in an entire lifetime. And many people don't want to hear this. But this year, I've decided that I'm not going to keep quiet, because if you could just listen, if you could just be objective, if you could just have an open mind and have a think about some of the things that I say, you'll realise I'm not doing it out of hate or maliciousness. I'm doing it because I want you to feel what I feel. I want you to be able to be fearless and in love with life and become unstuck. Now, I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I still lose my rag. I still get worried. I still worry about things. But I have to be conscious of my incoming calls, because the moment I stop being conscious of my incoming calls is the moment I revert back to that old identity that I created years ago, and that story that I created years ago of woe is me and victimhood, and this is why I have this disease, and this is why I'm so upset because A, B and C happened to me years ago and I can't change. Yes, you can. So if you're stuck in a thought feeling cycle, mentally rehearsing gratitude as a daily practice will help you get off that first perch that you've been on. It'll be the thing that can help you get off your arse mentally and then again physically. And I have a list here because I've done a lot of research on gratitude and what gratitude can do for you both mentally and physically. And there's a lot of scientific research out there. So this is just the few that I can say through the research that I've done. Having gratitude, practicing gratitude, not just when you receive something you say, oh, that's really nice, and you appreciate it. Real, true, guttural gratitude for everything and everyone and every state of being and every good time and every bad time, and being able to realise that the world isn't out to get you. It's there to teach you. Having gratitude improves your mental health, no doubt. It releases toxic emotions. Gratitude reduces pain, lowers your blood pressure, reduces your stress levels, improves your sleep quality, reduces anxiety and depression, reduces fearfulness and worry. It fosters an adaptive coping mechanism. In other words, you're able to adapt to your situation no matter whether it's good or bad. Through gratitude, it will help you cope with your life. Gratitude changes the neural switches in your brain, boosts your immunity. We need immunity, particularly if you live in this hemisphere where our daylight is so minimal at the moment. You can't produce your own vitamin D by being out in the daytime because it's not strong enough for us. It boosts your immunity. It gives you better motivation, and it gives you better intimate and connected relationships with either a partner, friends or family. So if you're interested, you're quite welcome to join my group, Straighten Your Crown. Straighten Your Crown. Get yourself a notebook and a pen, or a journal or a diary, or if you're like me, you've got to have things really nice to be able to give you the motivation to do it. If you're not, just a piece of paper, doesn't matter, back of an envelope, doesn't matter. join the group, because tomorrow I will give you one strategy